I mentioned to my friend how much I pay for each haircut, and he told me it's way too much. I only cut my hair maybe twice a year, so I'm not too worried about it. But now, I'm curious about how much is considered normal to pay for a men's haircut. Story 1. I have my buzzer. The original cost me $39.99 in 2005. The next one cost $17, smaller, battery-powered. Both are great. I haven't been to a professional since then. Story 2. $65 plus tip every 6 weeks. Worth it because I have a huge scar on my skull from brain surgery, and she knows how to style around it to hide the damage. Story 3. Bought a trimmer for $200 at the start of the pandemic. It's been 4.5 years, and it still works great. When it dies, I'll probably get a new one rather than go for a haircut. Story 4. I go every other month and pay $125. Granted, he is in Manhattan and it's a very bougie spot, but my hair matters to me more than anything else, and he is the first barber I've had that gave me exactly what I wanted. I have longer hair, so that complicates things as well. I'm well aware that it's quite expensive, though. Story 5. I live in a very small town in Central Texas. There are 2 barbers in town. I pay $20 to $25 for a haircut and get it cut every 6 months. It is cut very short when it gets cut. My last cut was in September. Story 6. Usually around $40 Canadian, 27 United States dollars. Maybe once every 2 or 3 months. To be clear, I have incredibly thick hair that gets insanely hard to deal with about a month and a half after being cut. I've been going to the same salon since I was a child, and they all know me by name now, but before they did, they recognized me every time as the dude with the crazy thick hair. Story 7. I pay about $35 every 4 weeks or so to go to Sport Clips. I get the triple most valuable player, which includes 3 hot towels and a full shampoo, conditioner, and scalp treatment. Very much worth the self-care. Story 8. $15 plus a $10 tip. Found a lady cutting hair at a Fantastic Sam's who did a really good job, so I just keep going back to her and always request her to cut it. It's been like 5 to 10 years now of getting my hair cut with her. Been to a couple of other places to get haircuts, and they were either overpriced or not what I was looking for, so I just keep going back to the same lady. Once every 4 to 6 weeks. Story 9. $18 plus tip. So like 25. I get one every 8 months or something. I should get one every 4 months, but I do not feel like it. Rather look a little crazy and wear a hat. Story 10. My barber does hair, shaves, nose hairs, and a hot towel for $40, and I tip him $10 every month. I live in Florida, and a bad haircut at Supercuts is over $20 these days. Pro tip: do not go to a salon. Go to a barber shop. Story 11. $25, and I cut my hair between every 3 weeks and 2 months. I am usually pretty scared about the haircut being messed up, so I wait until it looks really bad, and leaving the hair as is would look worse than a poor haircut. Story 12. I usually cut my own hair. I blend the sides up and keep it long enough to comb on top. But in the winter, I don't care since I work outside and have a hat on for more than 10 hours a day. If I'm going out, I'll just put some product in and slick it back. I treat myself to an actual haircut maybe twice a year. I think I usually pay between $30 and $40, including tip. Story 13. About $25 once a year. I shave it and use an electric device that allows me to replace the blades. The rest of it is cheap plastic, so I expect I'll have to buy a new base at some point, but it's still cheaper for my needs. Before I was balding, I used a $20 plug-in wall and scissors on top to give myself a fade. The first few attempts were a little rough, but it became second nature quickly. I edit it every 2 to 4 days, depending on how busy I am otherwise. When I did the fade, I let it go for a week or 2. Story 14. $0, unless you count the price of a razor, shaving cream, and aftershave. However, I spend about $30, tip included, for beard trims once a month. Unless my barber is touring with his band, Whitechapel, in which case I let my facial hair get scraggly until he's back. Story 15. $80 plus tip. Usually around $105. Get one maybe once every 6 to 8 weeks. I have thick curly hair and keep it curly on top with nice faded sides, so it's a little more maintenance. My guy is great. Worth it. Story 16. Before the pandemic, I used to get haircuts once every 2 to 3 weeks. I paid $15 plus a $10 tip. During the pandemic, my friend started cutting hair, and since my regular barber had to close, I just went to him. I paid my friend $25 about once a month. Now I have been 2 years without a cut. Story 17. It's been about 5 years since my last haircut, but as I recall, it was like $50 for a shave and a haircut, including the tip. I used to go every 6 weeks. Story 18. I can usually find a $5 Great Clips coupon, so it's $16 plus a tip, and I give $20. I've always wanted to go to a nice barbershop, but it starts at around $35, and that's wild to me. I also need to go abroad for 4 to 5 weeks, so it adds up. Story 19. I pay $0 maybe every 2 months. I do give my barber a tip. She does it topless. What kind of person would I be if I didn't tip for the performance? Story 20. Whether something is too much or not depends on your income. Everything scales to your income. It might be too much for your friend, but not too much for you. Story 21. $55 plus tip or $65 including beard plus tip. I live in Los Angeles, but I will say I started out with $25. The pandemic definitely pushed up the price, and my barber switched shops. But he does a great job and is a good guy, so I do not mind. I get my hair cut about every 6 weeks, but I should probably go every 4. Story 22. $25 every 3 weeks. My hair typically grows fast, and it's thick as F*******. Even if I don't take length off, I'm having them at least thin my top and clean my sides up with a fade. Story 23. $50 for a haircut and a beard trim, plus an $8 tip once a month. My guy takes close to an hour and does a good job. My hairline is receding, though, and I am tempted to shave it and start trimming my own beard. Story 24. Since the male pattern baldness has started, I just have to keep it short, 1/3 of an inch or less, so it doesn't look bad, and I can do it myself with a hair trimmer. Story 25. Used to be $7, then it went to $8 very shortly after it went to $12, which is still a fairly good deal. But I am poor, so I bought rechargeable human head shears and just chop it off myself. Story 26. Once a week. My BIC razor costs me about $12. My beard is a different story. It gets pampered once a month with a full wash, cleanup, and steam conditioning. That runs me about $50 with the tip and an extra $20 to replenish my beard balm while I am there. Story 27. $26 plus a tip. I go whenever it looks like my hair is too long. Because I work outside during the summer, I just shave everything off to as short as I can get it. Story 28. I just haven't cut my hair in about 3 years because the last time I had a haircut, it was $35, not including tip, and my hair looks good long, so I decided to go with the flow. Story 29. Once a month, my mom cuts my hair, you see. Although she didn't turn it into a career, she did go to cosmetology school when she was young, and she still has all the skills. I'm 48, and I've never paid for a haircut in my life. When she's gone, which hopefully won't be for many years yet, I'll just start shaving my head. Story 30. Around $50 Canadian plus a $5 tip. Haircut and beard trim, maybe once every 2 to 3 months. My barber and his wife take their time to make sure everything is neat and perfect. Plus the scalp massage is really nice. Other than that, I just use clippers and a styler on my beard if it gets too long and I don't feel like going for a full cut. Story 31. 3,000 yen, $20, every 6 to 8 weeks. I would do it every month, but the guy I go to is like an hour away, so I just get lazy until my hair length becomes unbearable. Story 32. The same lady has been cutting my hair for decades. She's an independent operator leasing a chair in a salon. Her fee for me is $25, and I pay her $30, which is a 20% tip. I don't know what she charges others. I have silver fox hair and wear it short. I schedule a cut every 4 weeks so that if one of us has to reschedule, I don't get too shaggy. Story 33. I started cutting my own hair very short when I was about 10. Now I've been doing it for 34 years and know how to trim it, which I do about every 4 to 6 weeks, I guess. Story 34. I pay $40 for a trim once every 3 to 4 months. I have long hair, so I think it's worth it. My hairdresser is an amazing lady. She's been doing this for 15 plus years and also teaches classes. She usually has very valuable advice as well. Story 35. $9 plus tip. I usually just give him a 20. He's a young guy, well, in his 50s anyway. But he's a real barber with a real barbershop with a pole on the outside that spins and everything. He's in the big town 20 minutes away, population 9,500, just off Main Street. I go every couple of months. And the name on the outside of the place is not his. Think Steve's Barbershop, but his name is actually Carl. Story 36. $30 plus tip every 2 to 3 weeks. In Los Angeles. That's with an appointment too, don't have to wait. Absolutely worth it. Same barber for 25 years. It was $8 the first time she cut it. Story 37. 10 like every month or so, depending on what kind of hairstyle I have. But the prices are not the same as in the United States. Services like this are cheaper here, while products like cars, technology, and clothes are more expensive. $10 is a pretty mid-range haircut price here. Although if my hairstylist increased it to 20, I'd be willing to pay that. I value the trust that it will be done the way I want. Story 38. $30 plus tip every other month. Until 4 years ago. Now I just buzz it myself. Leave some length on top and put some product in to keep it combed back. I'm about to be 47, still have a good head of hair, but don't really care about it. I just try to keep it presentable. Story 39. I have my hair cut once every 3 weeks. I just switched to a new barber. Before, I would pay $60 with tip. Now it's $30 with tip. The $60 one was a better quality haircut, but the difference is negligible to others, so I'm happy with it. Story 40. $45 plus a $5 tip and about 2 to 3 weeks after, I need one. I've been going to the same barber for over a decade, and I tell him to cut my hair however he wants to. Story 41. I don't know why, but I hate getting my hair cut. It's like going to the dentist for me in terms of hating it. I realize they're totally different, but just in terms of how much I dread it. Just curious if I'm the only one. That said, I pay $15 to $20 and tip accordingly 2 to 3 times a year. I'm in the United States, so you can guess what chain I go to. Story 42. Today, I did just my beard for $30, which took approximately 45 minutes. My barber also did my eyebrows, used a hot towel, took care of my nose hair, and gave me a bit of a taper. I tipped $17. My barber has been cutting my hair since I was in high school. Usually, I spend $45 for a haircut and beard trim, then I give a $10 to $15 tip. Story 43. I pay a lot, but it's close to my office and he does my wife's hair. The people there are cool and friendly. $100 with tip and I go every 2 to 3 weeks. Story 44. When my boys were in high school, one was on the wrestling team and needed to have a crew cut, as there was less to pull on. I went out and bought a wall clipper set and decided to start doing my own as well as his. I use a number 8 on my head, number 3 on my beard, and get a good free trim every month for the last 14 years. Story 45. I was paying around $50 at a place that did spectacular work. A little more than I wanted to pay, but I like the establishment and it's very close to my house. Currently, my niece is cutting my hair for about $15 plus tip, family and friends discount. She's still somewhat new and mastering her craft, but she's still very good at what she does and I like supporting her. Story 46. $70 used to be every 3 weeks, but now every 6 as I'm growing it out. My guy doesn't have a price for me. I've just been giving him a raise every so often. We've been together for 15 years. Story 47. $55 including tip, every 2 or so months. I also get my beard trimmed and lined up. My guy does a great job and gives me a straight razor shave around my full hairline, so in my mind, it's worth it. Story 48. I bought a set of wall clippers back in the early 1990s. I haven't paid for a haircut since. Once you get the knack of it, it's pretty easy to cut your own hair. It comes with different clips to regulate how much hair you take off. It saves you a ton of money, and you can do it whenever you feel like it. Story 49. I pay 30 for a haircut and beard trim, and he never accepts my tips. Best barber I've had, and he now runs a private shop from his fully renovated garage. Story 50. I last paid $37 plus tip for a haircut and shave at a Supercuts. I went to an individual who had his own place, and he cut me a break at $55, original price $65. But they usually don't hear from me for about 3 to 4 months. Story 51. I have paid for a haircut only 3 to 4 times since 2020. I've cut my own hair ever since. Each time I realize that if I get the front part what I can see in a mirror, right, I am good. I've messed up the back a few times and no one noticed. Story 52. I pay $40 plus a 50% tip every 6 weeks. I have longer hair than a buzz cut would be appropriate for, but it is still relatively tightly kept. I'm fairly close with my barber and am very familiar with his business plan and performance. This is not an easy job. It's tiring, competitive, and there are more costs than you see at first glance. In short, a solid guy with a work ethic is making maybe $100,000 before costs. Those include rent for the space, products, tools, marketing, and taxes. Never mind the education that is required for a state license. This guy works hard and maybe clears $45,000 to $50,000 after taxes. Appreciation for talent in this space has dried up, which has driven a huge amount of competitiveness and a race to the bottom. They deserve way more than they get. Story 53. I definitely underpay for what I get, and that's mainly because I've known him for so long, almost 6 years now. Anyways, I go see him about once a month. He cuts my hair and trims my beard. He usually charges me $30, and depending on how I'm feeling, I could be giving him anywhere from $45 to $60. Story 54. In my country, it is about $2 to $3 US. I get it cut every 3 to 4 months. I have a mullet now, but when I had it pretty clean, it was every 2 months for the same price.